Welcome friends to another video from my series called Quick Thoughts On, in which I talk about a random Star Trek related episode. This week's video will be about the first episode of season 2 of the animated series called The Pirates of the Caribbean. I meant The Pirates of Orion. The Orion race is old as Star Trek itself. It was actually the second alien race created by Gene Roddenberry. The first one was, of course, the Vulcans. In the pilot episode called The Cage, we learn a lot about their culture. They are described as a race of traders, and they are known to sell green animal-like women. Later in the same episode, we have seen Veena in the form of an Orion slave girl doing an erotic dance, which was the most erotic thing my prepubescent eyes have seen back in the early 90s. But we have never actually seen Orion males until this episode, which is the first time we see them in animated form, and decades later we have seen them on Enterprise in live-action form. I don't really count the Orion we have seen on the original series episode Journey to Babel, because we have only seen him as an Andorian and not in his Orion form. The story begins on the Enterprise, where we get informed that they have just cured an epidemic of an illness with a horrible name, which I'm not going to even try to say correctly, so let's call it just the illness. Before they have the chance to pat themselves on the back, Spock just collapses on the bridge because he was the only one who got sick. And what would you say? The illness is for Vulcans deadly. Kirk calls Dr. McCoy using the ship's intercom, even though Dr. McCoy stands at his side. During scenes like this, I hate the animation. Bones knows that he can create a synthetic drug, but it will only slow down the symptoms and will stop working after 2 days. Spock's immunity system will become immune to it. The only natural cure is strobolin, but the closest planet on which strobolin can be found is 4 days away at maximum warp. This is a great premise for a well-paced story, and we also know immediately what the story will be about. Kirk must find a way how to get some strobolin within 2 days, or else one of the favorite characters and Kirk's best friend will die. Thankfully, a cargo ship can get to Enterprise within 2 days and they have some strobolin. When I've seen this episode for the first time, I got pretty mad. They create a pretty good problem and immediately solve it. But I forgot for a moment that this episode is called Pirates of Orion, so thankfully for me, we meet some of them soon. Meanwhile, on the Enterprise, we get some typical scenes between Spock and McCoy. It's so refreshing to see stuff like this in this show. Most of the episodes of the first season concentrated on creating weird-looking aliens, usually cats, and weird premises. It's really great to see an episode which feels like it could be a decent episode of the live-action Star Trek show. I really like the fact that McCoy, despite noticing that the artificial drug stopped working on Spock, he doesn't say it to him. McCoy would never say to Spock that he's afraid about his health and life, even though he definitely is afraid. This scene captures their relationship absolutely perfectly. He tries to persuade Chapel that they have no reason to be afraid because soon they will meet the other ship. And they do, however, the Orions got there first. Scotty goes to the cargo bay, only to find out it's empty. Chapel takes care of the injured by gently touching his back and head. Interesting strategy, looks more like a foreplay to me, but what do I know about 21st century medical procedures? Or foreplays? Uhura takes the log tapes back to the Enterprise, and after bringing the survivors to their ship, they start to search for the mysterious attack ship. They get to an asteroid field, and the space around them starts to explode. According to their talk, the asteroids are explosive, so I guess the animators forgot to put there a layer containing the asteroids. Suddenly something starts to shoot at them. Thankfully, the Orions are so dumb, they give away their position. Kirk starts to talk to the Orion captain and offers him that they can leave the rest of the cargo for themselves and leave if they give them this trouble in. The Orion captain pretends to agree, but he wants to give it to Kirk personally on the nearest asteroid. But of course he wants to change the drug into an explosive. The plan is that he will blow up himself, Kirk, and also the explosive asteroid. And because both of the ships are near the asteroid, the explosion should destroy both of them. You see, an unsuccessful mission of the Orion Pirates always ends with a suicide. So let me get it straight. This is a kids show which shows us a suicide bomber. Well, the 70s were definitely a different era. The Orion captain tries to kill himself, but Kirk attacks him and Scotty manages to beam them both on board. The Orion tries to red pill himself. No, he's not a former SJW who wants to listen to other people's opinions. He wants to kill himself. Another thing I didn't expect to see in a cartoon. But of course, the Enterprise crew doesn't allow it, and they force him to order his crew to surrender, otherwise the incident will be reported, and the Orions will lose their neutrality, which is the only thing they are afraid of. They of course obey, McCoy cures Spock, and they have another nice personal scene. This episode is exactly the type of story I was hoping for when I started to watch the animated series for the first time many years ago. It doesn't have any distractions, no filler, the characters don't do anything illogical, it even feels like a Star Trek episode. There are some nice character moments, mainly between Spock and McCoy. The pacing is surprisingly good, the story doesn't waste any time, there are no segments which have nothing to do with the rest of the story. However, there are a couple of annoying things with the animation. Reusing different cells can save a lot of time and money, but it can screw up continuity if you don't know what you're doing. We also get a glimpse at the many times mentioned but never seen Orion race, culture, and politics. The fact that the writer of this episode has never written for Star Trek before makes it even a bigger achievement, at least in my eyes. Having said that, it won't be a surprise to you that I really like this episode. I like it so much I would give it a 9 out of 10. It's not perfect, but it's almost perfect. But of course, as always, these are just my opinions. As always, feel free to write your opinions down in the comment section. If you like this video, consider pressing that thumbs up button. If you want, you can also watch the previous videos. You should see some playlists on screen right now or in a few moments. I have covered until now the first season of the original series, the first season of the animated series, and after I finish covering this short 6 episodes long second season of the animated series, I plan to continue with the second season of the original series. But it will be in September, that's more than a month away from now. So, thank you very much for watching, and see you all next week when I'll talk about the episode written by David Gerald, called BEM. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody, and see you next time. Bye.